And we're up. Yep. All the fun stuff. Welcome to Thursday. Here we are. It's November 7th. Worked on some Keeper of Secrets yesterday, which I haven't finished up because I started bouncing back and forth between models last night. He's mostly done. Big metal clunky. Got the basing and stuff. I still got to dry brush the base and finish up the skulls on the base and all that fun stuff. And we'll well, here, take a look at him. Let's just get to it. So yeah, this is what we worked on yesterday. Did some extra stuff to him at the end of the stream yesterday. Did up the claws. Worked on the little loincloth butt flap combo. Put some stuff down on the base to get that started and did a couple of washes. And he's just about done. We still got to finish up like his eyes and a couple little details here and there, but he's mostly done. Do a couple little details on that blade. We'll make those little raised areas gold or something. Just something to stand out a little bit. But he's mostly done. Meanwhile, Ashley's coming along. That's why he got delayed yesterday. She got a little more color on her. Some of the jewelry and stuff, and the head got attached. I haven't done these up gold yet, but they'll get done up gold before too long. So today we're going to be working on something completely different. And I'm going to take that a lot of folks don't know that much about, or at least off my page. They don't know that much about Age of Sigmar. So these are the Sylvaneth. They are the tree people. They used to be elves. They got killed, and then they stuck their souls into trees, and now they run around in the forest really angry. But I painted up an army of these for Jacob, and I told him that I'd finish up some of the stuff before the tournament, and so here we go. There's a named character that they do. These are Kurnoth hunters. They come in groups of 3. There's the pictures that were at the beginning of the show. There's a couple of different poses and everything, and there's a couple of different weapons that you can use. Like these are the ones with the blades. But sorry about that. There's a named character that they do called Durthu, and I did a a blue, it's like he's supposed to be a tree, so this is going to be bark, and then this is like like if you peeled the bark off a tree, this is going to be the inside of the wood grain, like this stuff or this stuff. The name character has a blue one, and it turned out really well when I did him. So I'm going to duplicate that sort of blue undercoat, that blue heart of the wood. So we're going to start off with the fang. It's a citadel color. It's a base coat. And it looks a little odd, but when it's all said and done, it's sort of neat. So just get a little bit of that. Grab some water. Thin it out just a little bit. Make sure I'm on the camera, and away we go. So like I said, it's the underbits here, like basically the parts that move of him. If you're thinking this guy is like a tree, the armor is sort of like the bark. So all the under stuff, all the movie bits. Movie bits? It's a technical term. All the moving bits would be this blue color. I'm trying not to get into the bark too much, and that way I don't have to clean up so much when I go to do that, because we're gonna cheat a little bit and use some contrast paint on him to speed this whole process up. There's a couple little areas that I don't think there's anything that you could do to not get this on the bark, because that little area is like completely surrounded, but it's not a problem. We can clean that up here in a bit. So I was working on my keepers last night. I was flipping around Netflix because when I'm not sitting here talking to myself and having y'all watch, I'll turn on a movie or something in the background while I'm painting, and then it's less I'm watching it and more it's noise, and I keep it here on the screen in front of me, and I can sort of see out of the peripheral what's going on. Usually I'll turn on like on a movie that I've watched before or something. Just something to sort of background noise while I sit here and paint. Or if there's a podcast or something like that. Man, I'm way off that camera. Hi, how you doing? If there's a podcast or something that I'm wanting to listen to, I'll have that going in the background. Or an audio book. I've done that before. So last night I was flipping through Netflix, and I found they've got Bob Ross's Joy of Painting on there, and I started listening to it, and this is part of this painting is because it almost acts like a meditation for me. I calm down and relax when I'm doing this. Well, if you throw Bob Ross in with something that already relaxes you, I'll just go ahead and tell you, it'll damn near put you in a coma. I was so relaxed last night that it was frightening. I put it this way, I'm not going to do that again. I was way too relaxed. We're talking like pharmaceutically relaxed, but without any pharmaceuticals. So, win-win. So So I'm just going through and doing a base coat real quick. All these little bits where the blue, where that heart of the wood is going to show. I think there's actually some kind of, I know that there's like a purple wood that you can get. I don't know about like blue, but definitely see. Will do. I try to get about an hour. Well, so like my new thing is to try to get about an hour each day to put on here. Because I found that about an hour is sort of about as well, or about anything over an hour gets like really tedious. Plus, I have to get up and stretch my legs and all that. I sit here drinking water while I'm doing this, and eventually, I'll have to go somewhere. But so trying to get about an hour in a day, and right now it just happens to coincide to where I can do it right around lunch, and I figure that some folks might want to tune in or something like that. I probably have the best access to folks around that time. And it's basically dependent on what's going on that day. Like right now, I'm waiting to hear. My washer busted a while back. I think it's the little transmission that makes the whole thing spin. And I went to the manufacturer's website to find my local authorized repair service after trying to contact just local ones and nobody getting back to me. And they had apparently they've gone with the Comcast business model where you can book your appointment between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. on any given day. Now just sit around and wait for them to show up. So if the phone rings or the doorbell rings, I'll have to jump off here really fast and go check it out. But because I need clean clothes. I mean, I guess I could go buy more that are semi-clean at the store, but why would I want to do that? There's paint and stuff to buy. All right. So now the part where I really got to be careful. Right up here around his neck and his head. It's okay if I do hit some of the other stuff. I can clean up the area when I go to wash, or when I go to paint the rest of it. But if I can minimize the amount of stuff that I have to clean up, it goes faster. So just a little more of this blue. Just want to make sure that there aren't any like parts staring out at me that are just obviously not hit with paint. It happens. But it's easier to catch it now. And we'll give it, I think there's a couple little spots where the paint got pretty thin, so we'll just give it a quick brush. We want this is going to be the base coat. So this is going to establish like the darkest layer in there. Because I'll put a little bit of a wash on it here in a minute. So we want that, you know, we'll set how dark that wash can make it by how the base coat goes on. Go. Back around on that side. There's that. There's that. So like I said, we just went through and got that base coat established, and I'm off the camera. Got the base coat done around. Ooh, wow, there's a big spot that I missed right here on his arm. That'd have been bad. So we just put that over there. Spin the model around, double check everything. A couple little thin spots there. So this dark spot, the dark spots on the model start messing with the white balance on the camera. Always fun. All right, so we're gonna go through and hit a couple of highlights here. I'm gonna go with a slightly smaller brush. Actually, no, I'm gonna stick with my large brush. We don't need a whole lot of this color. It's called rust gray. Compared to the one that we just used, it's considerably lighter, but it's still in that blue hue. And those, I always shake the paint up. So if you've seen me shake the paint before, and that's why. You can sort of see it there in the lip that it just separates out when it sits in the pot for too long. So you gotta give it a good shake before you start putting it on there. Just mixes it all back up. You get a nice smooth color, just like house paint. It'll separate out. You gotta make sure that you shake that can before you start doing the walls or something with it. Only thing is, you're the shaker, not the thing at, the store. Just add a little bit of water to it, just to thin it out just a little bit. And there's these little cords and stuff on the model in that wood. And what we're going to do, there we go. We're going to draw some lines on the upper edge of some of those spots. Go up there, go down along that. It's basically the same ideal as doing the muscles on the ogre the other day. Up here along the neck, just gonna make sure that you don't get in the way of yourself here. Just a couple of lines here and there where his neck comes down. Like we're trying to maybe say how this big walking tree would be able to move. Give a little line there, a little line. There's like a little knot hole. Alright, give me just a second, folks. Of course. Alright, we're back. That was the washer repair guy that I've been trying to get hold of, and I got an appointment from 1 to 4, and of course he's going to show up at 1, because I tried to do a stream from noon to 1. So, do some quick lines down here. Like I said, it's just like going over the skin. You just want to sort of get the high points. You definitely don't want to get down in the recesses. Just run along the high points. Did I turn the volume back up? Okay. So just a couple of these little high points on the back. Through this little, almost looks like a spine on his back. There's not a whole lot of room to get in there to get those. But we're just looking to get a couple of highlights on this blue. One of the things I find is this is one of the layer paints, and so when you first put it on, it looks like it's going to be like very contrasty. It's going to jump out a whole lot, but as it dries, it sort of becomes a little more see-through, translucent, whichever word you want to use. And so sometimes you got to go back and just put a little extra on it to make that pop back out. That, and I also know that I'm going to put a wash on top of this to blend it all together. So it's, I mean, you can get some pretty stark contrast going across this. And when you put that wash on it, it's going to take that color and hit both of the colors underneath it, and it will tie them together really well. I should have known better. So I just said that I was trying to get an hour each time when I did this. And it looks like my repair guy is going to be here very shortly, because he said he was like 10 minutes away. But looks like we're going to make it to about the half-hour mark, and that's about it. Alright. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the Drakenhof Nightshade and some Lamy medium. If you don't have this stuff, it's not a problem. There's other stuff that you can use. This stuff is sort of ridiculous as far as what they charge. If you go to Hobby Lobby or anything like that, Michael's, I think most of them carry this Liquitex stuff. This one's a slow dry blending medium. The only problem with this one is that it does make your everything dry much slower. I also found that Flow Aid, put a little bit of that in there and it'll thin it out pretty good, and it doesn't break quite like the way that water does. And when you put it in with a shade, it does odd things, or at least water does. So I'm just going to take a couple of brushfuls of the medium, or not the medium, the shade. I'm going to take a little bit of that Flow Aid. And I'm going to mix it about 2 to 1. So 2 drops of the flow aid to 1 drop of so again, this is like the reason that you twirl these on your hand is to get an idea of how the paint's gonna do. You can change the brush a little bit. You can make the point a little sharper. Because we're not really wanting to change the colors that we're sitting on. We want those 2 colors to blend together. So you put that over them. It does darken up in the pool spots, but see how that looks right now? We'll put a little bit of the shade, oops, over it. And it blends those 2 colors together and gives you another darker area in your recess, in the recesses. And it just blends everything together. So put that all over the little blue areas. You don't have to be real careful with it, but you don't want to drown it in there either. Off the camera again. Give it a little shot around the neck. See how that pooled right there at his neck? So what we're going to do is we're going to clean that brush off. Just dab it on a paper towel over here to where the paint's a little, or the paintbrush is a little dry. And if you put the tip of the paintbrush in there, it'll just acts like a mop and it'll suck that extra shade up. That way you don't get really blotchy. So unfortunately this is a part where I'd have to wait for that to dry, and normally I'd switch over to like working on the wood or something like that, but I believe I just heard the car door, so we're gonna hop out of here. Sorry for the stream being so short today, but like I said, he showed up long before I thought he was going to. So y'all have a good one. Go paint some stuff. I'll try to get something else on here later on. Have a good one.